Listen to the Healing Guides podcast with Hannah or Marian Abdullahi on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Listen to the Healing Guides podcast with Hannah or Marian Abdullahi on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. This is a very important message or episode. It's for Muslims, but also for non-Muslims, especially whoever is non-Muslim that's currently following my Healing Guides podcast. It's very possible that since demons obviously exist and they come to your mind and they say bad things, it's possible that you misunderstand the things I'm usually saying. I talk about how my religion, Islam, is corrupted, but that is the original religion of God Almighty. Keyword original, meaning since Adam and Eve, not a new one. So with that, means that I was saying the corruption is the evil in it. First being the perversions and the sexisms, which the Bible also has perversions and sexisms too. Therefore, I was telling you that book is also corrupted. Okay, their religion is also overall then corrupted. These religions cannot be protected from corruption. God's religion cannot be protected from corruption because it's ancient. Every time the people he sent down to guide you died, well then, okay, corruption will enter. It's just like any other book in human history. It's ancient. So in the proof series that I'm going to upload soon, it's going to be weekly from now on. I'm not going to post so much because I'm going to finally give you real knowledge. So I'm going to take my time. And I'm not in a stable situation where I can sit at a nice place and record. I'm usually moving around a lot. So there's a lot of noise behind me. I can't think very well when I'm trying to tell you something because there's witchcraft being done to my mind with every noise they make. It's not harassment. It's also witchcraft. Noise can make you forget something. So that's why they use noise, because the noise has witchcraft in it. It's like boom, and I forget. They tap their feet and I forget what I'm trying to say. So demons persecute me just like a prophet or messenger. I'm not a prophet or messenger because God has given me divine missions like them to reveal the corruptions in his religion. So demons will also be allowed to follow me. So I have a unique situation. So I'm right now being harassed and being persecuted everywhere I go. So I cannot explain things in the perfect knowledge that God gave me, the amount of intellect he gave me. I can't really show it to you because I have to record very short episodes and get out of the way because I'm usually outside and there's too much criminal conduct around me, noise and extreme behaviors. Okay, these are the most evil humans you can have because there's a lot of people who are possessed due to sin overall. The most evil ones, the ones who are really perverted, really narcissistic, really psychopathic, but to you they just look like a normal person because when they're not being used this way, they just conduct themselves in an average way around others. Okay, but when they're around me, they're actually being used by the devil. Okay, so they have multiple demons in their bodies as well. So some weird different personalities will come out of them. This one will talk this way, this one will harass me that way, this one will drive by me that way, but it's in the same body. Every day that human can come to the same environment as me for 10 years, as long as they're possessed, they're never going to behave. They're never going to get used to me and leave me alone. It's like every day they have new energy because every day, who knows, they're coming up with new demons in their body. Humans, obviously, if they bully you or harass you, they leave you alone. If you stand up for yourself, right? These ones never change. They can see me for years, and every day is like the first time they ever saw me. So these are not humans. So I'm getting sick from being around them. They have way too much dark energy. So I hate the fact that God is pushing me to record things for you, the human race, when I'm not in a stable situation to show you the knowledge he's given me. So I don't understand, but whatever. I'm just going to do what he's, guiding me to do either way. So the proof series, I'm going to take my time. I usually post a lot on my podcast, but I'm going to take my time. I'm going to, try to write in bullets and remind myself, what episode, this topic, what it's going to be on. I'll just record shorter lengths because when I try to record, that's why it goes on for like an hour when my message is very short because the harassment, you guys can't see me. And that's actually why I don't put a camera around me. I don't want you to see the nonsense around me. Some of them could actually call cops on me and act like maybe I put them on my video or whatever if I'm recording in a public place. So it's just, I have very logical reasons why I can't show my face. So anyways, also because I don't want this evil demonic spirits who are using the family that God put me in. They're stalking me, which, is their form of persecution. They don't know nothing. Humans don't know nothing. God is making them do this. in the sense that not that God is evil, in the sense that he's giving the devil power to just persecute me. Okay, that means whoever they're possessing who's very evil will just follow me around and commit criminal conduct around me all the time and harassment. Okay, so the human doesn't know me. Okay, the human doesn't know me. If they knew, they'd be scared. They can't do anything. And these demons are not powerless. They're not powerful, I mean. It's just that, okay, God gave them the power to do it. So don't think demons are not scared of me or something. What I'm trying to say is, since I'm not a regular human like you and I came to do something different, it's going to require weird supernatural things happening around me. Someone who could normally not bother me is going to be given immense power to be possessed and actually say something they cannot say because they're not actually cussing me out. They're not saying nasty, sexist things to me. They're not trying to touch me. It's God making demons expose to me the way they corrupted his religion by making them possess evil humans and making them behave inappropriately around me. And that is how I learned how they corrupted the religion. To you, you're not going to understand. You just think they're harassing me. But I have the knowledge from God to understand what the harassment is trying to teach me, what that behavior is trying to teach me. Okay, so I just want you to understand that, okay, since I'm Muslim, that means I grew up around Muslims my whole life. I was rarely around non-Muslims. Okay, if I'm around them like the U.S., I came here like I started 4th grade here, whatever the age would be, like maybe 11-year-old or whatever. I was very young, 8, 9, whatever the age would be. So I grew up in the United States, but I was also, in Somalia, and I was also in Kenya. Those are the countries I just was there for a while. Okay, so for that reason, see, someone's coming around me right now. This is what I'm saying. I can't record because it's like a pest. It's like you have honey and there's a pest constantly following you around. Do you agree? It doesn't matter where I go. They come outside of their homes. They sit outside and they listen. It's not hard for me to prove people are watching me and harassing me. They physically come to me. Okay, I can go anywhere. I can go in a bush and they'll follow me. I'm getting irritated as I record this because they're not just bad demons and humans. They have witchcraft. They're going to make me forget. Sick and tired of this. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, this is why I don't get into in-depth subjects on my podcast. I don't actually show you where things are corrupted because I don't actually know how to do it if I'm being harassed all day. Complete strangers watching me, listening, trying to assault me if they think I'm distracted, driving their cars towards me, sitting everywhere, coming everywhere I go. They're not human. This is the worst of the human race. You don't want to be around these ones. So God is putting me in like the worst cities of the United States. Obviously, there's good people in this country. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, see, I'm forgetting. What I'm trying to say is, I grew up in the United States, yes. But it was only maybe for school that I would be around non-Muslims. The rest of the time, I'm around Muslims. Okay, my race is African. My ethnicity is Somali. God did that because this is the race that needs help. They're the ones who are being oppressed by other races, those who are evil among them. God made sure that I'm a woman and not a man this time to expose, the corruptions in religion because my gender needs help. Okay, so he's a very wise creator. He actually chose a woman this time to do something that, okay, technically males did, but we don't know if part of the lies the devil put into religion is that he made it seem like only males were prophets and messengers. We don't know. This is the thing I'm trying to teach all of you. Stop believing in whatever books are always writing and saying about history. You are not there in history. It's that sort of arrogance that makes you bad people. Be willing and have open mind. We don't know if God used women to be leaders in human history, but based on the way history is, I'm the first woman who's actually doing something only prophets did and messengers, something therefore males did. Not because it's random, but because God is trying to show you he's not the sexist author in these books. He has to make me a woman this time. He has an agenda and a plan that is very frightening this time. It's not funny anymore. It's not funny. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I was around Muslims all my life. I grew up with them. If my religion was this filthy, sexist, perverted, nasty, narcissistic, psychopathic, extremist, terroristic religion that it truly is, if you read the bad parts of the Qur'an and the Hadith books, which are man-made books, then how did I enjoy my youth? How did I grow up technically being surrounded by decent humans who don't like that stuff, who are not evil? How did I grow up with young people like myself who are good females who are my friends to some degree? I just wasn't too close to people. How is it possible? that the average Muslim male I came across was normal around me. Because we are not the same as the religious preachers. As non-Muslims, you need to know that. Muslims are not the same as the religious preachers. They are the agents of Satan. They're the ones who are sprouting the lies. They're the ones who are bringing back books that past Muslim scholars said, we're going to burn this thing. We're going to get rid of this. This is fabrication. No one should ever see this again. But okay, some evil demon possessed some lunatic. Obviously, it's usually going to be male because it obviously gives them dominance. And they're the ones who are bringing back these horrible books that someone wrote in ancient history, such as the Hadith. Hadith means narrations. There's many of them. Some are called Sahih Muslim, Bukhari, Tirmidhi. There's so many of them, Dawood. Those are names of authors, males. We don't even know if that was their name. Do you see what I'm saying? No one knows nothing. So I'm going to reveal, therefore, the solutions in the proof series. Since we don't know anything as human beings, what are we supposed to do? What God has guided me to tell you is the solution, which I already knew even as a kid. Even as a child, I knew what the solutions are to when there's some sort of conflict between human beings, what they should do. And when they have conflict in their beliefs, as well as morality. He just naturally created me with this wisdom and knowledge. He just did not allow me to go out there and tell anyone because that wasn't the right time for him. So I'm not saying I just randomly popped up and realized my Islam is corrupted or something. Other humans would have figured this out, right? Anyone can see these books are saying nonsense to you. It's a unique psychology why Muslims don't speak up. 70% of the reason is because we actually don't know this stuff is in our religion. You think we do, because these evil demons possess evil non-Muslim males who usually like to go on YouTube, and they're the ones talking about Islam, the bad parts. So you get sensitized. You literally get sensitized to it that you think then, right, they're the example of Muslims. You forget these are non-Muslims. You forget they hate this religion. So I'm talking about not all non-Muslims. No, these specific ones who hate our religion. They're the ones who their agenda is to sprout more hatred because they're working for the devil. If someone actually saw something wrong with a religious group, their belief, then they talk to you in a rational way. They just express their opinion. But these ones, all they do is they have a YouTube channel. The purpose is just to talk about Islam, but they're not a Muslim. Why you care about their religion? What's your problem? Leave it alone. So they're agents of Satan. Just Google anything about Islam. These main YouTubers that come up, these weird males, usually they're European, all they do is talk badly about Islam. So they're the ones, therefore, sometimes bringing up something about Islam that Muslims don't even practice. But some weird author in human history wrote it. It was forgotten about. People said, let's ignore this. It's fabrication. But since he claimed to be a Muslim, right, he's a hypocrite, obviously. Real Muslims are not evil. Those evil ones in our religion who are always working for the devil to write lies, such as the ones he used to even corrupt the scripture, the Qur'an, and the Bible even before that, these evil humans who only God knows who they are, the wicked ones who like perversion, who would love to do these horrible things, they're the ones demons are going to possess. They corrupted them to that point. Okay, now the human is no longer there. So the demons are in control and they're supernatural and they have the power to touch a scripture, something powerful. You can't corrupt God's books. You're going to be scared to death. It's a demon. God is giving the devil the power to possess this certain male. Obviously, they were usually male because obviously what they're promoting is that male should dominate the female, not because there's something wrong with males. Okay, so then there you go. Males just like those ones, the ones in the past who corrupted books, are ones just like them are going to come out in every single civilization. There's always going to be a group who's going to go and be that evil as always. Very, very evil. Okay, they're going to take books, a nice little pen or whatever they had back then, and they're going to write lies. Then Muslims see it and they're like, what the hell is this? Who are these authors? Oh, so-and-so is a liar. Do you guys hear me? Don't listen to him. Burn his books. Okay, but those Muslims die. They die. And now that the author, maybe if he lived longer, or his children, because he's not stupid, he's going to tell someone to maintain his books after his death. He's going to tell someone, my books better be published again after my death. And someone's going to continue, usually his children. Then the evil stuff comes back again. So you don't know Muslims are righteous. You don't know they were against it. You don't know they never practiced it, because the evil books that say, hey, everyone who's Muslim, you guys should do this to each other. These books keep coming back. That doesn't mean Muslims practiced it in their actual governments and civilizations. Okay. Another evil human around me again. Ugh, I have to keep moving away. Okay, so then two, the idea that when I grew up around Muslims, the 70% of us don't even know what these books are saying. We don't even look at the books. We don't even have a physical copy of the book. Okay, fine, maybe sometimes it's in the mosque, the sort of little bookstore area, but it's usually near the preacher's area, which is called the sheikh. We don't get to access it. We're like the public who comes to see a mall. Are we going to access the sort of books that the managers who own that mall have? No, we're just like outsiders. So that's why we love our religion so much. That's why we love God so much. That's why we don't think there's anything wrong with our religion. That's why sometimes people get very angry with you. They don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Do you understand what's going on? Do you see why such a huge group? You expect some of them who you probably met yourself, Muslims you probably met yourself, they're good people. You're thinking, but why are they in this filthy religion that talks about so much evil? Because they don't even know it's in their books. They don't know. They don't teach us in the mosque. I grew up going to mosques every day. I would tell that evil, filthy family who obviously hates God to take me to the mosque. They did everything they could to prevent me from studying religion. I always wanted to go there because it's a place of God. It's a place to remember Him. The people who were usually there, young people like me, because, right, the adults would usually know what the hell is in this religion to some degree. So you're always going to see the adults would be, or the more old ones, like 50, 80, 60, those really old humans, and even just in human history overall, they're usually the evil ones. Do you agree? They're usually the ones who act like they can control you, dominate you. They act like they're your authority. All this authority nonsense, before religion even said anything, came from culture, came from this group. The devil came, taught them, hey, age makes you an authority over whoever is younger than you. So parents are authority over children. These are the areas you can force them. These are the areas you can control them. There's always this desire for the devil to make one group dominant over the other. So it's not just sexism, okay? It's just human race. The devil just thought to himself, I'm just going to make one group always force the other into something. Yes, evil is always trying to control and limit and harm you. That's just evil, you think. No, because you can just be evil over there and then admit to it that you did something wrong if people catch you, correct? Okay, but what have they always done? What have humans in history what have they always done? They act like the evil they do is their thing, is somehow their culture, their community, their little thing. You can't touch us. You can't tell us what to do. Who cares if he rapes her? Well, that's their culture. That she's okay. They always make it seem like it's their little thing, and you can't touch it as an outsider. So that then you don't stop it. You don't stop the crime. You get me? So that's my point. It's a human history thing. Our species has this problem. The devil came to some evil humans who are wicked after they already made that human learn to sin and become a bad person, because there's two types of sin, and that's what the proof series will also help you understand. That there's carnal sins like sex outside of marriage. It's not for evil humans only. Good people can do that. It's a temptation for some people. God doesn't hate you, okay? We would say then we have the other type of sin. Evil. You're actually harming others, abusing others. This is truly what makes you go to hell, okay? While the other stuff is where we were supposed to call each other. We're supposed to be loving to each other. We're supposed to be nice to each other. No one is supposed to call you a bad person and shame you, because this is your desire. It's your carnal. God made it that way. He made you desire sex with the opposite gender that's not related to you. That's a healthy age group with you, which is not more than 4 years. I have to keep reminding you guys that. God did not create you to be attracted to someone way older than that. That's it. This is when religion is supposed to be loving to you and just out of advice, just tell you not to fall into these things. You fall into it, they're supposed to pat you on the back and give you a hug and say, you can do it next time. You can stop it next time. Don't be tempted. And then it's supposed to grab their swords when they hear that evil weirdo raped someone. That's when we get angry, because you just harmed someone. That's what a pure religion would do. It has a balance. Okay, but when you make everything the word sin, right? You use the word sin too much. You sensitize people to the word sin. Then they can make witchcraft. God has taught me that there's witchcraft on Muslims and there's witchcraft on the whole human race overall. So that's why Muslims don't think. There's actually witchcraft on their mind. They all just go on their YouTube channel. They Google, why are Muslims not allowed to, etc. Right? Like maybe you, a non-Muslim, ask them a question. They just go on YouTube. They just Google it, or they go to their preacher. And that that evil weirdo, whatever he says, they're going to tell you the same thing. It's like a sheep. They just told what to do and they tell you. They don't personally think about the answer themselves. They don't open the book themselves because they're lazy as hell. That's what I'm saying. So if Muslims are not thinking on their own, they're not personally questioning their own religion, they don't go to school like you're supposed to and study your religion and wait a minute, then we would have people of thought, right? Like school of thought. We would have people who think different opinions. Everyone, okay, then knowledge increases because people are allowed to think. But when all you do is ask a preacher what the answer is, you're just sheep, right? You're like puppets now. You're not even thinking about what in the world you're answering to this person, how maybe extreme it is. But true, right? Okay, so they misguide you on some things, like the hijab, the females wear. That would be something God would tell you to do. Like, don't do this, don't do that, it's not good for you. It will be a gentle thing. It's good for you. Cover yourself in these areas, like your chest. Obviously, a female chest is not the same as a male chest. It's not strange that God would want you to cover it. No human would be like, that's extreme. What's extreme is you forcing it. Because that is between her and God. You can't make her do it. You get me? Her religion is between her and the one who told her to do it. God, not you. So the extremism is when they're forcing Muslims to follow the good parts of Islam. And the other type of extremism is when they're forcing Muslims to commit evil onto others using the corrupt parts of Islam. So non-Muslims don't understand what is happening here between Muslims. My proof series will explain it. Then you're going to understand there's good people, there's rational people, there's normal people. They just don't know what to do with this religion. And there's witchcraft done to their mind, preventing them from always actually judging their religion. They're not interested. They're just like you expect a human to be. They're also into this worldly life. When I grew up with Muslims, they were thinking about school. They were thinking about college. They were thinking about marriage. They're not worried about what the book says. They're not thinking about it. Just like Christians could say, yeah, I'm a Christian. But does that mean they sit all day and read the book? So humans, most of the reasons that they actually don't know there's evil in, that they actually have evil in their religions, but they're still in their religion, is because they don't even know there's evil in their religion. Yeah, I'm a Christian. Yeah, I'm a born Christian. Yep, I left Hollywood. I left that darkness, that demonic place. Yep, I love Jesus now. But they don't know the filth in their book. She's a female and she's saying God knows what's best for her. But it says she cannot have abortion. We're going to talk about abortion in the proof series. Obviously, how that's her God-given right. She doesn't believe that she cannot have abortion. She's this civilized type of the human race now that obviously believes in human rights. Okay, but she's going to tell you she went back to God and and now she's following the. And you're thinking, what? Are you giving up that right? You don't look like the type of female that would think that very dumb way, because she doesn't even know that's in her book. She's just only reading the good parts of her Bible. Okay, so all of us are ignorant of the evil in our books because that's not how we are. As good people, as decent humans, we're just living our life. We're just absent. We're human. We're absent. This worldly life, the things we want to have, this wealth and money, and that's all we think about. It's those who study religion that are going to have the enemies come from it, because they're studying it so they can promote the bad stuff in it. The bad stuff that humans in history who were the good scholars deleted and burned. So don't be like, well, what the hell were they doing? They did what you expect them to do. They told everyone this is garbage. But when they die, then those books can be rewritten again. It can be spread again. So don't blame them. Don't be like humans were probably never moral in human history. They were. It's just that we keep dying and then new people keep being born. You can't get rid of evil, then it will keep coming back. Because this devil, it doesn't die. He's mortal. He'll only die after this world ends. So he can keep bringing it back. So when you understand how he's misguiding us, how he's dividing us, and how he's making people fight every day, hate someone you should not be hating, because, right, this group that you were raised by, like this religious group, they taught you to hate that other group. Muslims are always told to just get away from non-Muslims. They literally say you can't even be their friend. How can you not be someone's friend because they don't worship God? What kind of nonsense? We're a species. That means, just from the word, when I use the word species, you should already be seeing how dumb that is. That means we came out of each other. We literally, since Adam and Eve, whoever you and I are born here today, right? Whoever's here today, Our ancestors are the reason we're here. Those humans before us had to mix. They had to trade with each other. They had to learn from each other. And when God actually created us all, since we were children came out of Adam and Eve, what does that mean? God created all the different races and all the different ethnicities from Adam and Eve. You get me? It's not like a female today. She's only going to give birth to whichever male that she married to, right? The sort of physical appearance that kid then would have, right? They're both European. Okay, their kids are going to be European. It's not like that. Eve would have African child, European child, Asian child, like that. They're going to have to give birth to every ethnicity and race. Okay, and then they're going to go. That little race is going to group over there, become their own little community. They're going to keep breeding, and now they become this big ethnicity, the huge number. So humans forget, and we had to mix at the beginning. God is not going to make rules that those who are in his correct religion, like Islam, he's not going to make it rule for you that they should control you, that their religion should be in their state or government. Impossible. It impedes on the rights of those who don't want to believe in God. And here's the most important thing. God does not believe that you can be forced to worship him. It's only after you die, when he judges you and he makes the rightful judge on you, that you should go to hell. That's something between you and him. He only believes you should be punished for doing evil to others. Okay, but if the devil corrupted what it means to do evil to others, such as he accuses females of being murderers when they do abortion, when that's not murdering anybody, that's her body. You're not going to take away her right to control what comes out of her body. And this is not a human. The definition, the terminology, the way he changes things is how he can make something normal in God's eyes seem like an evil thing here. And he makes evil things like perversion, then he's going to call it normal. God have mercy. It's such a big, diverse subject, and I wish I could just sit down and record good episodes. But I'm in bad situations. I can't record. So I'm going to do my best to, do it weekly so I can take my time and not overwhelm myself. Okay, so I just want you to know that when I grew up around Muslims, including me, up to, I would say, maybe age 20, I did not know this filthy stuff in my religion. What does that tell you? If I was always in a mosque, that means they never talked about it. I'm going to how many lectures you cannot imagine. I would go to the biggest conventions in the state. I never heard it. Never heard anything about raping non-Muslim females in a war. Never heard about 4 females as a wife. I never heard nothing. I never heard about raping a child who's 9 years old called Aisha. They created this fake character, accusing a prophet of raping a child. I don't hear it. What does that tell you? Even us Muslims are ignorant on what these humans are saying. So we're in the religion because we're only hearing the good parts. So how can you say there's something wrong with us? You don't know us. So my job is to expose and teach you how the devil hides each other, right? The good human beings in every religion, how he hides us from each other. We never get to know each other and work together and talk to each other and bring a healthy understanding. We don't get to make laws in our countries. Either our country is being controlled by religion, right, which is never a good thing because religion is always corrupted, and people have different religions. So you should never make a country, right, their government, it should never be based on a religion. So the solution God taught me to the corruptions in his religion, but even if there's no corruption, let's say his religion is pure, it comes down today. A new prophet comes today. He proves to every one of us he's actually special. Versus some crazy hypocrite. No, it doesn't matter if his religion is corrupted or not. It should never rule the country. It should never rule the laws of the country when it comes to small things. Big things, that's just common sense. If God says to kill a murderer, you understand where that came from. So it's not just from a religious point of view. The logical part of you already understands that's a just way to judge a murderer. That you kill him because he took a life he shouldn't live, like that. So even in the areas of religion that we would actually put into a government, it's whatever. If humans who are using no religion would also come to agreement as well. That's how you know there's nothing to be scared of. It's the smaller stuff, like how should you pray? Should you cover? Is it okay to drink alcohol? Blah, blah, all that stuff that we would call that humans can fall into, that's between you and God. Well, no one is supposed to kill you for that. No one's supposed to force that on you. That's about sort of like your faithfulness to him. Okay, God, I'm going to give up this alcohol for your sake. Like that. And it's bad for me, obviously, so I'm going to work on my logical mind to force myself to stop being, evil and to actually see that you're telling me not to drink it because it's actually bad for my health. Oh, and people are telling me from a spiritual side, we get possessed if we do it. Like that human should be coming from her own place to say that they're gonna give this stuff up because it's not good for them. We tell people every day, right, that alcohol is bad for them. Like a doctor would tell you that. But okay, are they gonna force that on you? That's how Muslims are supposed to be. They're supposed to separate Islam from their governments. That's what God taught me today is the solution to Islam. Stop making it the rule of the law. 2, you're impeding on the rights of non-Muslims who want to live in your country. We're supposed to, so if someone says, if a Muslim preacher who's evil says, why should we care what non-Muslims want? Because they're your own species. Stop creating a cult out of us and separating us from the entire human race and acting like we're supposed to come up a little here in our little box and separate ourselves from everyone else. We're supposed to get married to each other. Every race, every ethnicity should have the choice to marry who they want from another race, another ethnicity. We're a species. We're supposed to mix. What is your problem? How did we grow so big? If we were all isolated, it was only certain times in human history we were isolated. But still, we were trading with each other. We were visiting each other. We were living in each other's countries. Stop lying. This group, God gave them maybe some development in science. Okay, the rest of the human race doesn't know. How did it spread? Someone went to that other country, taught that other group. Then it spread. Okay, so all the good things we have came from us helping each other, teaching each other. We need each other. We're a species. We're not like animals who can just separate. That is what the devil hates. He doesn't want us to mix. So he uses religion as a barrier. But since God is our Lord, look at my words. Since he's our God, that means he's not biased. He cares about all of us. He's merciful to all of us. He's just looking at this group and they're sinning. He's looking at that group and they're actually sinning in an evil way. They're harming others. Okay, he hates them. We're not going to say he loves them. God does not love evil humans, but he's merciful to them. He's happy to accept them if they want to repent. Okay, but this other group that's sinning, they're good people, or they could even be evil ones, but what they're doing is not evil. It's just carnal desire like sex outside of marriage. God is having the same mercy towards them, but even at a higher level. Because they're not evil, okay? They're actually, right, they're not evil. They're falling into what he created as a temptation, not alcohol. Goodness, God does not pull you to something bad for you like drugs and alcohol. That's what the devil pulls you to. But carnal desire, we would say something that's normal for you like sex outside of marriage. You're not going to obviously think you have to follow a rule, right, to get married first. That's just your natural instinct to just do it. You don't know about rules and systems and go to this court place and file these papers. What the hell? You don't know that. Right? Humans used to live in caves. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Religion comes to give you sort of a basic system. You know, it kind of teaches you how to do things. But even without religion, God still made sure that when Adam and Eve were no longer here, right, when they died, still what they taught their children, when those children grew from, civilization to civilization, right, generation after generation, some of that stuff they taught them that they learned from their parents was just with them naturally, that they should get married to have sex first. They should, probably make it known to everyone that they're married so people don't think, right, they're strangers to each other. So it's about goodness that you would want people to see you publicly getting married. So people actually know you have a relationship, and not about the way that now religion makes it. Oh, if you didn't, officially go to a mosque and get married in front of people, well, then you should go to hell. They should kill you. You're a bad person. You're a sinner. We don't believe in you. Like, it became a bad reason as to why you should make it public. But what if people don't know they have to make it public? Did humans not come from a time where there was no knowledge, and knowledge kept coming to them and coming to them and coming to them? God kept sending people to them. That means they keep losing knowledge because it's a different civilization again. New people are born. Why are you expecting them? So no one is going to be considered a sinner. Okay, what they're doing is a sin. What they're doing is wrong, but they're not going to be considered an intentional sinner. So God is not going to treat them the same way as someone who actually knows that it's a sin to drink alcohol. They're not going to be considered the same because that person knows it. They live in a time where maybe the prophet is right in front of him telling him, don't drink this, And the human does, okay, that's a different person, someone way hundreds of years later who doesn't know this stuff is bad to God's eyes, and they do it. You're not going to be thrown in hell. Do you guys see what I'm trying to say? I'm speaking really fast. I feel like I'm not explaining it very well because it's going on too long right now, and I'm in a bad environment. I have to get out of here. So what I'm trying to say is these things are so complex. It's not easy to explain it. You could even misunderstand even what I just said in this episode. So the proof series, I'm going to separate it into subjects, you know? I'm going to show you evidence using human history, human species, the way that we have just been all the time, the way we just evolved, the qualities, keyword, qualities of the human species, which obviously is from God. That will show you then what type of God we have. The devil's job is to come in, create some sort of cult like of God's religion, because right, everyone follows it in this country. So then he makes it into like a cult. Whoever steps outside of the rules, bad person, kill them, stone them, beat them. Whoa, you didn't commit a sin against anyone for having sex, for drinking alcohol, for doing drugs. Why should anyone beat you up? Why should you go to jail for that? If you're drugging people, okay. It depends what the hell we're talking about. Maybe you're poisoning people with alcohol who don't. Okay, anytime you're committing evil to others, right? You're forcing something on them. You're controlling them. You're taking away their human rights. You're taking away their gender rights. That's when you're hurting others and committing a bad thing. Okay, but even then, the devil can then be like, okay, they got me this part. They got me here. He's going to come up with another way to then attack us. He's going to make extreme punishment for things that you should get low punishment. And he's going to give you low punishment for things that are supposed to be treated with extreme punishment. A rapist should get the death penalty. End of discussion. But they always go to jail. Why are they living? Why should you live? You just harmed someone in a way that's worse than murder. 2, aren't you going to do it again? Aren't you going to rape those inmates? So why should they live? Do you see my question? Why should they live? They don't have the right to live. But if that human did not commit rape, but they keep drinking, they keep smoking, they build a club and bar in a country that people worship God, that is a sin that you're supposed to call them away from. You're supposed to give them time. They're not harming anybody. People come there on their free will and they join and chat. So past Muslims were like that. They didn't force anyone into Islam. But here's then how the devil came after us. You think he's done? Then he corrupted the religion to say, okay, fine. We're not going to control non-Muslims. We're going to control the Muslims because that's okay. If they exit the religion, death penalty. What? See, this is how I'm going to prove to you these things are not from God. Based on the qualities of God himself and the way that he allowed human beings to live for centuries, such as Prophet Noah, the first few men that got sent to be prophets and messengers. He called for his people, I think it was 100 years. Those, right, first human beings actually used to live a long life. That's why we all get so surprised when we see someone living 100 years. That was normal back then. So we actually lost our sort of greatness or sort of like our body, the way it used to naturally look. Over time, we started to get physically shorter and smaller. We were large. So all the stuff that you think are dinosaurs could have actually been humans. Okay, the demon could have just corrupted it. So what I'm trying to say is, an example would be that Muslims agree with it. So this is how you can stop them. The preachers who are lying about God's laws of justice, they cannot lie to you here because God won't allow it. He has to leave some stuff for us that we can use, right? Just like when you're a detective and there's a murder, you don't know who killed who. Okay, now, exactly. God gave you the intellect to figure out, because God taught you this stuff. How humans who do this stuff, God taught them. He just didn't bring out a book, he just taught them in their mind. God gives us certain things we can grab and use as evidence. Do you agree? And now the detective can really find who killed who. But do you agree the detective can also sin and accuse an innocent person? Like that, evil can always come in and create injustice. But in situations where we know 100%, right, the evidence is perfect and this was the murderer and the detective found them. The detective wasn't physically there. How do they know? God gave them something called some logic or some intellect in the mind. It doesn't mean they're intelligent. It just means he gave you knowledge in your mind. Some people are actually intelligent and some people are not. I explained the difference between being smart and intelligent on an episode 100. Listen to that because it's very important, because I'm sick and tired of just smart people or educated people being called intelligent, because intelligent would imply sort of you're very smart, obviously, and just regular people who are being called, intelligent, who are just smart. Maybe they just learn psychology. Well, now they're going to mislead you if you think they're so high knowledge when they're not. They just learn the subject. Anyone can learn. We all have a brain. Even the most evil sinners, no matter how much evil they commit, they can rape someone, they can do the filthiest things every day. They're never going to lose their mind. You get me? Like, that's not a punishment God set for them to just have their brain go to mush. It's still gonna function. Okay, so that explains then someone like me why I get mad that evil humans don't lose qualities like this over time if they commit heinous crimes to people. God doesn't take it away from them. Okay, so they could be really smart at something and they could be raping people every day. And you're thinking, but how does their brain function? They're so filthy. That's just how he created them, the same way their feet walk every day, unless you break it. Unless you damage their brain, it's going to function. So they can be really smart at a subject. Are you going to call that person intelligent who they raped thousands of people or something? Over decades and decades of no one knowing what they're doing. Come on. Okay, so don't connect intellect to smartness. So what I'm saying is, human beings, just like the detective can figure out something that they never saw with their own eyes, but using the knowledge God gave the human race that reached this person at their country, their university that taught them, they can show you who the criminal was, right? That sort of smart way of finding something, using hints, using evidence that's scattered all over the place. You don't know the answer, but you can come up with the conclusion and find the answer, correct? That's how we can find what is corrupted into God's religion, the lies. Using these basic things, like Prophet Noah was a Muslim. Muslims will tell you he's a Muslim. Christians will say he's also our prophet or someone important to us. They don't see them as prophets, sorry. Either way, these two groups and humans who usually are in these religions will agree this man existed. Okay, they believe he spoke to people for a long time, and people always rejected, and some followed what he was calling people into. Okay, what does that mean? This is how you know these preachers are not true Muslims and they're lying to you. That they themselves, the things they say out of their own mouth, they don't even believe in it themselves. They're working for the devil. Prophet Noah did not kill anybody for leaving this religion. He didn't kill anyone for being a non-Muslim and never converting. He never did anything to anybody. I'm sure he didn't do nothing. Those humans just had their own laws, as you expect. A murderer, a rapist was just punished with whatever at that time they like that. So humans always punish those who harm others. That's always what they at least agreed on. And at that time, God's religion was not with them, right? They were just worshiping whatever they wanted. Some didn't even worship anything. Whatever they believed, right? Obviously, it's different from today what humans have evolved into, because these religions didn't exist in the first few human civilizations. Nothing existed. People actually started to worship sort of the authority that they created for themselves out of just regular humans, like someone in government. And they would usually do that with a community leader. Like, just visualize a small little community. Some evil male would come up and be like, hey, everyone, I'm going to be your leader. And he would give himself the qualities of a god. Not even the qualities of a king, but a god. Because always, that's the first thing the devil taught human beings. The evil ones. The first thing he taught them, right? The sort of first evil, we would say, right? When humans were like a large number, they were in their own cities or whatever. He always taught one of them to act like an authority over the rest. So it's dominance. The devil's true desire is for one group to dominate others. Okay, so this male then would not just give himself, right, just a quality of a leader. Because he has to be a sin. It has to be bad, obviously. He's trying to teach them evil. Okay, he would claim to be a god. He would claim to have the rights to silence you. That's what kings would just say. Someone should be killed if they ever came against the king and said, I believe in God. You're not my God. You're just a human like me. Boom, that person would get executed. Okay, so you already know there's something wrong with the species if you go back in history. They killed people for things that you just can't imagine someone being killed for. Okay, that same evil humans, right, of that time exist today. They're just in different bodies. Okay, those same types of human beings, not those human beings. Humans who are just like that in their character will come out of every civilization because it's just evil. Do you agree evil can obviously be taught to someone and some will like it and some will say no? Okay, so whoever would like it, whoever would go into it, the devil is going to look for them in every single generation. He'll look for that human. This one's born, this one's born, this one's born. He's going to look for them. Boom, he found them. Excellent. He'll group them. They'll work together. Now he's going to give them that quality to tell people, hey, everyone, I'm going to create like a government or a system for a city. They're going to first obviously get people in a smart way, manipulative way. They're going to just tell them good things. Let's create a system. With humans, we need a system. Otherwise, things will be lawless. Like that, and humans agree. They first will pull you with that good reason. Like presidents today, obviously, when they're doing their primaries or, other sort of lectures they give, or the sort of debates they have. They tell you the good things they'll do. You don't know. Then when they actually become your president, they take away your rights, correct? They go to war. And you're thinking, how dare you go to war? You know? So that's what I'm saying. They're not dumb. They're not going to tell you the bad things they'll do to you when they become your king. They first trying to act good in front of you and get you to agree. Okay, so that's what the devil is doing. He's making sure this human does that. And some of these first humans actually used to interact with demons. They used to be sorcerers. They used to have someone who does sorcery, which is magic, to manipulate people's minds, to intimidate them, to scare them, to cause death for someone by cursing them with death. It doesn't mean they can kill you. It just means they're cursing you with it. And humans who want to kill someone are just going to be around you, you know? If you act smart, obviously, you can protect yourself. Obviously, no one can just take your life like that. Because, right, every day people would die, someone would just do a curse to you. No, it's just like the way you just see a criminal, just, okay, like that. It's already possible. So they would use sorcerers. So in human history, when we study it, we're going to understand how the devil and Qur'an are corrupted. These extreme immoralities in Islam, like this hatred and extremism to non-Muslims, this slavery that they say is okay, this rape that they say is okay to people from war, all this stuff is the evil humans in human history versus religion. Not just anyone who is evil in human history from any religious group. Good people, always good people. I don't care what their religion is. And bad humans who want to rape and kill. Whatever the bad humans used to do in a war, right? They start the war, obviously, because they obviously want to harm people. Good people had to just only defend, right? They're not in a war with you. No, they're just defending themselves. Okay, what happened? You all know what they did. They would then go after whoever's left, like whoever they captured after that, right? Okay, so then what would they do? Usually rape, because they're perverts. Okay, so for that reason, what does that tell you? It's those humans, that the evil they used to do, that's coming back to Islam and saying, go after non-Muslims, enslave them, don't let them go, and obviously harm their females and keep them for yourself as a male. Oh, the Muslim females, though, they cannot touch a non-Muslim male captive. That's a sin. That's disgusting. Okay, and then, yeah, kill their males, obviously, because obviously these are their females. They're going to protect them. Like, it's insanity. And their males, right, the males from their land or wherever they came from, will kill them. Obviously, they're a problem. Obviously, I'm sure they raped some of those males if those males didn't fight. You get the point. They obviously kept some of them as captives. This is something a God would never allow. God loves us, okay, in that sense, right? He loves his creation. He just doesn't love the evil ones. He's merciful to them. So that's when you lose the love from him. But in terms of love, right, just what love means, right? He doesn't hate us, obviously. He obviously cares about his creation. He would never tell one of you to harm the other because, whoa, that means God is evil. That's actually the first reason. He's not evil, so that's the reason he wouldn't tell you. 2, he doesn't care about one group more than the other. Okay, we're all equal in his eyes. We're a species. We all came from Adam and Eve. So I want you to see that we're confused because we're just this generation. You are born to this female and male. I'm born to this female and male. We're all confused. These humans are confusing us that we're born to recently. You get me? But we all came from Adam and Eve. So you're not seeing what God is seeing. He's seeing that we are the children of Adam and Eve. He's not seeing that you so-and-so is the child of so-and-so and so-and-so. He's seeing bigger knowledge than that. He's seeing where we really came from. Okay, so he obviously loved Adam and Eve. They were not sinners. They were not evil humans who went into the evil type of sin, who became, those he threw in hell. They just sinned in their carnal. Okay, right? Everyone's going to sin. No one's perfect. Even prophets would sin. It's just they're not going to do evil type of sin. I have to separate sin for you also in the proof series. Well, he obviously God loved those 2 people. They sinned. The devil got them. They repented. God forgave them. He corrupted the Bible to say he didn't forgive them. And all the bad stuff happening is because of them. And he blames this natural thing God did for females where they give birth. He accused that of being some sort of punishment from God. No. Same thing I just told you. The same God that obviously is seeing Adam and Eve, 2 people he loved. But let's say he didn't love them. Let's say they were wicked. Either way, he's merciful to us. He's fair with us. He's seeing that, okay, we came from Adam and Eve. He's seeing what the devil is doing in every civilization. He's seeing everything from the beginning. He knows who's really the problem, that devil. And who obviously the second problem will be whoever follows him and does horrible things to others. God is not biased to us. Okay? We came from one place. In his eyes, we're just one group. I just told you you're all confused. Different races, different ethnicities, two genders, different age groups. Everywhere you go, you're born to these two people. You're all so big in number. You're scattered. You categorize yourself with so many different names. Of course, you're going to get confused. Of course, you think God has to pick one over the other. No, he doesn't. We're species. End of discussion. That should already help you. Species, meaning we're one group. When he creates all of his creation, he's merciful to all of them. He just does not see them the same way because one is evil and committing horror and one is innocent. Why would you want him to see us the same way in that situation? So he doesn't love evil humans who harm others, okay? The love part is different. But mercy, which is so high level, you will start to think it's love, obviously. Mercy is for all of us. So he's just with all of us. So that means our Creator does not love Muslims, okay? He does not love Muslims more than non-Muslims. He sees us all the same, equal way. We're all a human, a species. So by observing the qualities of God, by observing how things were in the beginning stages of human history, like Prophet Noah, no religion was established over people, like how Islam tries to establish itself now over Muslims and tries to put their Sharia laws on people. There is no such thing as Sharia law. That's why we never find it. And Muslims were confused when we used to hear this from non-Muslims. I told you, non-Muslims know things we don't even know because it's not part of our religion. It's just like if you write a book. I'm an author, let's say. My name is so-and-so. Someone could write a book talking about me, correct? And lying about me. After my death, do you agree people can attribute that book to me, whatever the author said about me? Is that my book? No. But if you move from history to history, of civilization to civilization, constantly attributing that book to whoever you're talking about, that author that died, then do you agree it becomes part of their identity and now that's dangerous? The people then in the future who say to you, well, we read this author's books. Obviously, we should only follow the books with their name. These books were written about them. It's not from the person, so why should we connect it to them? That group will always jump and be like, hell no, this is based on their biography. We should love it. We should respect them. We're not loving the person enough if we throw these books out. Like that. These hadith books, these extra books, and just the scriptures, the Bible, Qur'an, and past ones, obviously all always get corrupted. So for that reason, they're going to tell you, you should honor the books. They're from God. Oh, the other ones that God didn't write, like hadith books, well, you should just love them and respect them and treat them well because they're talking about God's religion. As long as they're talking about him and his religion, you should love it. Just obey it, follow it. I told you the same nonsense where they just said, this book is talking about the biography of the author. Just love it. As if evil doesn't exist. As if liars don't exist. And as if even they're telling the truth, you're supposed to attribute it to this person. You still don't have the right to attribute it to the person. Even if what you're saying about them is true, you don't have the right. They didn't tell you that about themselves. Yes, your opinion, your perception. So I'm sick and tired of it. If humans are not willing to admit scriptures are corrupted, if Christians want to be annoying as hell and not admit their book is weird, if Muslims don't want to admit that their book is weird, well, then it's easy for the devil to bring books that God didn't even, his information is not even from him. Right? In ancient history, it's easy to bring books that just a regular human wrote and force that on you because you're not even willing to admit the scripture has a problem. You're not even willing to admit the scripture can be a corruption. You don't want to admit this part. You're never going to get to the other part. You're not going to throw out these weird books. So it's easy then for those who are really evil, because good non-Muslims don't do this. They might tell you what's wrong with your religion, but that's it. They're not going to be obsessed with you, make YouTube channel about you. Obviously, that's a hateful person. They're trying to spread more hate about you. Goodness, that's not someone seeking understanding and knowledge and just telling you something. These evil non-Muslims, okay? Keyword evil. Evil non-Muslims are the ones, just like evil Muslims, creating channels, creating books, writing whatever they do, and they're spreading lies about Islam, taking on books that have nothing to do with God. He didn't even send it. Just a regular human like you and I wrote it. They just attribute it to his religion. And Muslims don't understand what you're talking about because of that. Not because they're dumb. Not because they don't know their religion. Not because don't insult Muslims. It's because those books have nothing to do with our religion. Regular random males wrote it. We don't know these religious preachers consider that part of the religion because we don't have to know that. It's not part of our religion. They're lying. But you think it's obviously, you think humans are dumb? How did it then connect to the religion? Shouldn't people have thrown it out? It connects because there's some truth in it. So we're going to talk about it in the proof series, how the devil obviously put some truth in it, some stuff that we can all agree is true, and he confused the hell out of you with the rest. He just puts evil in it. The solution is one, we separate religion from the country. You have to respect the Muslim the same way God gave non-Muslims the right to worship him or not, the right to believe in God when prophets used to come to them like Noah. The same way every Muslim will agree, every Sheikh will agree, which is a preacher, that Noah would never force those people to become Muslim, and he would never kill or harm anyone that was a Muslim and said, I'm leaving this religion. Or prophet would never hurt anyone. They don't believe it, but they believe this one would. They believe Prophet Muhammad would, because they created a different character out of him, this sort of extremist, cult-like leader of a weird group. This is our system. Whoever wants to exit, whoa, whoa, whoa. So the way to protect the honor of Prophet Muhammad is to go back to the prophets before him. No one was ever killed. No one was ever punished. Unless, I told you already, the humans just had their own natural laws for crime that is logical, that no religion would disagree with, like rape and murder. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things about belief. Who you worship, okay? Those past prophets never came with a system that would create some sort of government for anyone. It was just about belief. Okay, fine. Those people might say, let's create a system because we all think alike. Great. But it should just apply to those who think that way. It's just a belief. It should never create the punishment for people. Because then you're going to punish non-Muslims for something they don't believe. And then you're going to punish Muslims and non-Muslims for something they have the right to do if they want to do it, which is to not worship God, not believe in him. That's their free will. So when they say to you, but that's not true, you cannot leave Islam, you should be killed, blah, blah, blah. Not only do they have no evidence of that, man-made books are not going to take over our life, but two, I just told you we can prove they're lying using God's nature. The way from human history, he always sent you a prophet as a warner. Keyword, just warner. This man did not come to control people. He just gave them a warning. You guys over here, you're going to go to hell. You know, because you're obviously doing horrible things. And all of you, well, obviously you're sinners. It's possible you go to hell for these things if you don't. He's just warning them on basically how they could get punished for basically whatever type of sin they're doing. But they usually came down when humans were really killing and harming others, when there was huge crime like that. Because today, you can label something crime and it's not a crime, right? It's just normal behavior. Or something you can forgive. And real crime should really be about harming others. You can harm others by lying about them too, defaming their character. You get me? Just anything that would harm someone. Oh, you can't walk on this side of the road. You're a criminal. What the hell? That's not a bad thing. Goodness, just rules. Just tell them not to walk there. Don't imprison them. So there's no justice. There's no balance. Normal things are called crime, and heinous, horrible things are called, you know, something that they should just be punished in jail or prison for a little bit. What? That's how you know the devil is controlling your governments. So what I'm trying to say is those prophets already proved what they're saying about our prophet Muhammad is false. Because those prophets, God punished those humans. It's only with his wind or his natural disasters he would send down of other forms that they would die. That's it. But guess what? When God did that, and in very rare situations, when you would say this generation should actually die, because let's say they were all killing someone like that, they were all raping someone, extreme situations, he would just kill them. Because how are they going to then continue and have another generation come after them? They're crazy. You cannot have criminals like that. Versus criminals usually just a group, right? And the other group is just regular humans. Okay, God is not going to destroy them, right? Because the normal ones are going to uphold justice against the criminal ones, and the normal ones are going to breed. So God is logical. But 100 years, I'm trying to remember how many years it was. He was calling people to God. What does that tell you? No one was killed or punished. God didn't punish anyone, and Prophet Noah didn't punish anyone. Obviously, some Muslims believe in him. Some people believed in him. Some people followed the Prophet. We would call that Muslims. They didn't create Sharia law. They didn't restrict the rights of non-Muslims, which also means they cannot restrict the rights of Muslims who leave the religion. We can prove this one is false when the devil says to kill them. based on the fact that God Almighty does not believe you can make people worship him. He doesn't believe that. When he's sending a prophet to you, he's already showing you, he's saying this is your choice. So it's going to be your choice until you die. You're not going to lose that choice because you're born to Islam. Or you converted and then you exited. That doesn't make sense. He thinks this is our human right. He didn't say this is the rights of non-Muslims. No, just God gave rights to us based on either we're human or a gender, certain situations that would only apply to that gender. Now, obviously, male has nothing to do with pregnancy. So certain rights, she would have certain rights when she's pregnant. So he can protect her from the evil ones who are the male. And some females, they manipulate or whatever. But really, there's no specific rights that a female would have that a male wouldn't understand. Because it's just human rights. Just treat her well. She's not going to have a box of weird laws just applying to her. That's not logical. It's a human. So what I'm saying is, I can prove it. That obviously, based on God's nature, based on the past human civilizations, which are the example for us this time, what he thinks about us as well, the Muslims of this time, the non-Muslims of this time, the freedom he gave those people is the same freedom we all have. We don't lose the freedom. See how dumb it is? If I'm born to Muslims and they make me into their religion, why would you use something like that I don't have any control over, right? I can't control that. I was born to them. They made me Muslim. Why would you tell me that I'm going to be killed if I leave this religion? Why are you giving me a rule like that? When those people who are just randomly born to non-Muslims and they followed Hinduism or Christianity, you, a Muslim preacher, a Muslim sheikh, you don't believe you can kill those people if they never want to be Muslim. So why do you think you could kill a Muslim? Did they have a choice in entering this religion? No. What did God do when he sent prophets? Did he send it to them when they were children? No, they were adults. So God is saying adults can make the decision about religion. So you don't even have the right to make people Muslim when they're children. It's just one of those things you do to protect them, obviously. You don't want them going into false religions, but can you force your children to be Muslim? No. Because you cannot force anyone. You cannot force the adult to worship God or to be Muslim. Therefore, you cannot force a child. Because they're both human. That's the reason. God gave us human rights. So we have to look at the human rights we have so that Muslims don't lose their human rights because they're labeled some weird group in the human race and no longer human. Because that's how the devil took away Muslims' rights. This is how he took away their rights. This is how he took away the rights of LGBT. God does not tell you to kill them. It's just like those who don't want to worship him. And a prophet keeps coming down and saying, stop worshiping this man or this idol or this demonic spirit or this tree. It's a choice. It's their free will. You're only going to have God bringing down some scary punishment for them. So these parts that we all have the right to sin, right, is where the devil is saying kill people. Take it away from them. And the areas you don't have the right to do this and get away with it, like raping, murdering someone, you're supposed to be killed for that. You harm people at a high level, so you should be killed. Versus you beat someone up. Well, we're not supposed to kill you. That part, right, where humans who actually do deserve death, the devil created prison and jail. They just sit there every day eating 3 meals a day like some nice student, in some sort of, housing facility that lets you eat 3 meals and exercise and you read a book. What? So what did the devil take away from all of you? Your human rights. Using religion. Using God as a weapon. The first group he goes after is those who actually worship God, which is Muslims. The other groups would be other humans who just worship him, which are Christians, because they're still following a book from him. It's just ancient. It's more ancient than the Qur'an. So it's going to be the first one, right? If we had to put them in order, this one would be corrupted first because it came earlier. So Christians are, right, in God's religion, okay? They're not some weird group. They're just following the corrupted version of the Bible. Okay, so that means then they're going to have some mistakes. They're going to have some error. They're going to have some things they believe that they should not be believing. But is that their fault? No, they don't know. Okay, so God is going to be there for the one to judge them. Do you see what I'm saying? You guys don't have the right to judge each other because this is between them and God. Same way, if a Muslim leaves the religion, if they commit sex outside of marriage, if they drink alcohol, if they go into LGBT, it's between them and God. The only time humans have the right to grab someone and actually kill them is when that human does something to another living being that is very simple point and blank. You harming their body. You are doing something very similar to harming their body, such as accusing them of raping someone. If that was believed, people would have killed that innocent person. So you should be killed. How dare you? No, we're not going to put you in jail. So it's things like that where you're saying to people, oh, you don't want to be killed? Then don't accuse people of extreme things that would naturally make that person lose their life. But what if they accuse someone of stealing? Okay, then they should be punished for whatever that person would. It's this sort of thing where you're trying to be as just as you can to the victim by giving importance to whatever they went through. That person would have lost their life if this human who accused them of rape actually got away with their lie. It's not fair to just put them in a jail. It's not fair to just, maybe you guys want to beat them up and that. No, this person would have died if we didn't figure out that they accused them. You have to be logical with your punishment. So humans are logical. So why do you guys suffer? You're using religion. So you need to separate religion. Muslims need to separate Islam from their governments. And I just want you to know, as non-Muslims, there are Muslims, and Muslims too, there are Muslim preachers, which are called sheikhs, who actually wanted to do this. They kept telling their community, let's separate our religion from our government, because it's going to hurt us. There's all these beliefs and stuff that are so extreme. Guess what they did? The evil one that works for the devil, he acts like a little kid. Oh, shame on us. We're going to go to hell. The wrath of God is coming upon us. He starts to act, he's not crying, but he starts to act like those people who act hysterical. You know that extreme way where someone says, woe to us, we're gonna die, like that. He creates a long dialogue. It goes on for like 10 minutes. He keeps saying how, right, God is gonna come after him. God is gonna come after all of them. They're hard. Oh, you guys might just think, right, he's obviously manipulating people, right? He's playing victim when he's the bad one here, taking people's rights away. You can't force people to worship God. That's their free will. Only God is going to judge them for that. That's why he's waiting to judge them in the next life. Goodness, you should already know. God cannot force, God did not tell you to force Muslims into worshiping him. If they leave, they're just like the non-Muslim who has the free will to not worship him. You cannot hurt these people. You're taking away their human rights because you're giving that right to another human over there, a non-Muslim. So you are unjust because they're human. See, do you see what I'm doing here? The devil is manipulating Muslims into thinking they're Muslim. Therefore, they have certain laws they have to follow. These people are non-Muslim. Therefore, they have certain laws they should follow. No. They're human. So since God created all of us, we're from one species, that means we all have human rights. What we believe does not take that away from us. We just have certain rights that would be falling under human rights. So whatever God's true religion, if it really was Islam, would tell you to do to a Muslim is the same thing it would tell you to do for a non-Muslim, because they're both human and God's laws don't come for one group. It comes for the entire human race. So whatever he would tell you to do to a Muslim, right, someone who worships him, it would have to be the same law that he gave non-Muslims. So if he's just in saying the fact that you should not force non-Muslims into my religion, then he's not going to tell you this group is different. Kill them, because he's the same God. Get it? It's not two gods that are making our book. So that means what? We have two authors. They're human beings. And just so you know, God did not ever bring down his scripture. Prophets came and they were just told to write it down. So that's how you know, therefore, error is possible. Muslims don't want to admit it. They want to act like the Qur'an is perfect. No one wrote it. They don't like the right word, or writing, or wrote it. They don't like that word because it implies error. It's possible, right? No, humans wrote the Qur'an. Humans wrote the Bible. Not the modern one. Everyone knows that. John, Luke, Paul, whoever you guys like to say wrote it. No, don't worry about the disciples. I'm talking about way prior. When the book was actually pure and good. These books, all the books in human history God ever sent down. When we say the word sent down, we mean God is sending down like his verses, like what he's saying to you. You know, like God's words. That's what he's sending down. Okay, but who is he sending it to, right? We need someone we can trust, right? A prophet, because he chose the person. So they're not going to sin against you by being evil. God is not going to create a human who could become evil and make them your prophet or some religious leader. They're always supernatural, so they're always going to have qualities that humans don't have, such as they cannot become evil. They're never going to misguide you. Okay, so God didn't just choose a random male and say, you're a prophet. That's what you guys think. Because, right, maybe when he became an adult, he was told to go preach. No, that's just when he was told to go do the work. But he was already physically created and designed to be moral and not be corrupted, so that he can never ever do the injustice or the evil to you as a human species of corrupting and lying about what God said. So he's always going to, right, create them already as a prophet. You get me? He could be 2 years old. It could be a woman this time. She could be 2 years old, but she's already in God's, right? Those humans in God's eyes are already his prophets. They're already, supernatural leaders, if maybe not a prophet. They're already that person to him. They're already pure from the beginning. Okay? They're just going to do sin that is not evil. Just temptation type of sin, but nothing evil, nothing harmful. They're never going to have a bad mind or bad heart. Okay, so the prophet, therefore, angels would be the ones sending down. See? Even it's not even God even there's already so many living creations that are sending his knowledge down. First is an angel, then a human who's supernatural, a prophet. It's never directly from his voice. Okay. God also has this quality where he doesn't like to show himself. He doesn't like you to hear his actual direct voice. So oh my God, these demons are possessing people, making weird faces. So that, right, shows you that he's not already thinking you can force people to worship him. He does not consider someone a sinner because they actually don't believe the explanation you just gave them. Then that's not enough for them to believe, because there's no evidence God is out there. He didn't show himself to his creation, correct? So that means God is using certain things to guide you to the fact that he's out there. The way that this world, the way things are created, how perfect it is, who's managing it, the fact that obviously you can use certain qualities and things to just prove there has to be a higher being out there. So he's always guiding us to find him. But since that's not enough, right? Prophets came down. They're actually telling you who he is. They're actually saying these are his words. The angels would come down, tell them what God said. The prophet would write it down. Maybe he asked someone to write it down. Or prophet, they say that was illiterate. We don't know that. But if he was, then okay, so he told someone to write it down. What the hell is wrong with you guys? He's illiterate. Okay? Obviously, they can corrupt it. Okay, so he would probably tell them to recite it, maybe, if it was recited, Okay, you recited that very well. Good job, like that. But does he know what the human wrote? No. He would know when he's alive, right? Because they start to act on things that he didn't tell them. There you go. So they're probably not going to act on it. Maybe it was already in the book they wrote when he was sitting next to them. Maybe it was already there. The corruption, who knows, was already there. The devil already possessed this human, or some other demons possessed this human, wrote a lie, smiling at the prophet. I did it. Manipulative. And then when he dies, they're all saying, yay, we're going to go back to our sin. We're going to go back to promoting evil using God, because we don't have to be scared of this man stopping us, because he cannot judge what we wrote down. So it doesn't always mean this Qur'an was corrupted after the prophet's death. It could have been corrupted when he was alive. But do you agree that good humans, good Muslims, or just good humans overall could have been like my prophet or so-and-so, if they don't see him as a prophet, they tell him there's something wrong with the book. Do you agree? Okay, so probably it was corrupted after his death. You see, I just use logic. I didn't just tell you this is what happened. I don't have evidence. So these religious human beings, these preachers, where is their evidence when they tell us something? Why are they always calling people evil humans that you should kill and slaughter if they don't believe in such and such thing? First of all, those are not situations you're supposed to kill people. Two, why should anyone be seen as a bad person in that sense? For not believing in something that's obviously true and they're acting like it's a lie. When there's no evidence, they also are like me. They're human like me. They weren't there in that time, so why do they always act so extreme and act like they can force us to believe that this is the truth? Where is their evidence? So that means religion, right, according to God Almighty, was always something that you can believe in. It's always something you believe. So therefore, you can never force it on anyone because it's already something you can't prove. God, it just guides people at some point. He shows them miracles and stuff. There you go. It's between him and them, therefore. Don't be like, yes, we can prove it. God can do this for someone. Okay, that's my point. I'm not saying you're lying. You're the one acting like they should just believe in a religion. You're the one just acting like your words are enough. I'm saying your words are not enough. I'm saying it's only God who can show them he's real. It's only if they pray to him and they ask, can you please do thunder? And thunder happens. It's between them and God. But the things that you cannot say, okay, then is belief. Raping humans, the fact that that's evil, is also a belief. And rapists just go raping everybody. No! That they can find. No. No and no. Harming others, we don't need religion to tell us that. Because when we were created, God created in us, all of us, that conscience. And our parents already taught us. Right? Adam and Eve already did their thing. They were the first people to worship God, so they knew his laws. They already taught human beings what God's laws are. Okay, too, but that thing gets lost. We don't need that. Otherwise, you're accusing us of being some sort of object. We have a mind. We know what harming others is. We know what's bad. Those are the things you cannot say is a belief. You should be punished for that. Okay, but the punishment has to be logical. Then the devil can still come after you and be like, well, then let's not punish them this way then. Let's punish them. He can corrupt what the punishment then should be. Easy. We don't have to be scared of it. We don't have to be scared of what he's going to do because we can then use logic. See, the same way we use logic to know that evil is something, evil conduct type of sin is something we can know on our own, even without God's laws. It's the same way we can also figure out what punishment fits a certain type of evil conduct if we all use logic. But we have humans who act like they're using logic, like politicians. They're obviously going to use the word logic with you. They're not going to say, I'm using a false opinion. They're going to tell you they're also using logic when they say, for example, a rapist, a murderer should just get 20 years in jail. Of course, they're also going to act like they're using their mind. So that's it. That you're thinking, okay, well, what should we do? Evil humans can obviously act like they're also using logic. How are we going to prove them as wrong when they give a smaller sentence for something more heinous? You use logic again to show how you just use logic again to show that this punishment is not fair enough. It's that simple. Okay, and I just told you, there's going to be humans who then will always do what? Not agree. The fact that there's always humans who will not agree, also because, there's evil humans in this world, they don't agree with good, also already shows you that God doesn't believe in forcing anyone. Because if he believed everyone should follow this one way, he would not give evil humans the right to have that kind of free will. They wouldn't have free will. Something would somehow get in their way. They have free will. And humans overall have free will. So free will from God already shows what? He doesn't believe we can force each other. When that group says, we don't care, we're going to give this type of criminal this type of punishment. It's only the humans who live in their community that have the right to say no and leave their country. Because they're human, they cannot control each other. They cannot dominate each other. They cannot actually go after this prisoner and murder them in their country for doing something that does not deserve murder. Because he doesn't want to be part of their cult, their culture, their government. They cannot force it because they're not God. So that's where evil humans come in. They know they're human. They don't have the right to put their own beliefs about what they think is punishment onto others. But then when you actually are in their country, they're going to act like they should come find you and kill you with it or punish you with it. That's not logical. We just said everything is free will, except right when you're harming others. That's what I'm saying. It's always going to keep happening. There's always going to be that group that's always going to say no to us. No matter how much of reason and logic and morality we have reached, there's always going to be that group that says, but I don't want to believe that. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to. So the solution is to tell them to go somewhere else. The solution is they should go separate, become their own little community, create their own laws in their own country, in their own little city, wherever the hell they want to go. So then guess what the devil does? You think he likes that? Humans obviously at some point will realize our way was better. They're going to come to us, the moral people, and they're going to choose our ways, our mentalities with their own free will. They're going to come to us and see how better it is, how right. There's so much crime in their city because they're not as harsh as they should be. Then they're going to come to us. Because we're balanced. We're not extreme with punishment. The devil cannot let that happen. He cannot let the humans who are that crazy, some of them ever choose to think differently because they saw an example from these people who really are using the highest logic possible, which just means morality. He can't let that happen. So guess what he does? He still goes after free will. right? In that little country or little city they went to, those who don't want to listen to us, those who don't want to make the punishment you give people rational, and you separate religion from the government so that people who obviously don't believe in your religion don't have to be put through things that have nothing to do with them, and so that you respect the people who can at any time leave God, because God already taught human beings, no matter how corrupted his scriptures are, that faith is something that changes. Muslims will agree with you. You can hate God today or love him tomorrow. He's already showing you the nature of how he created faith, the fact that it goes up and down, that people can obviously leave him who worship him. So how can you kill them? What does he tell you to do? He tells you to call them. He himself guides them to him. He doesn't believe in just executing people for things that is a belief. They have faith in God. So it's between him and the creation. You can only defend yourself from an attack or someone trying to harm you. That's when they don't have the right to say their belief matters. Hell no, that's your body, your life, your home. They can't just come to it and do what they want to it. That's when you are the victim. And that's when you have to, the moral people have to make laws protecting that justice. So that's what I'm saying. The devil can always do that. He can always keep coming back. No matter how you think it's over, he can always keep coming back. He can always keep coming back and saying, you can't do that. So I just told you, it's easy to defend yourself. When something really is your human right, and humans really are still, because they're evil and they want to harm you or others, they still using the fact that it's their free will, like LGBT act like they can go after children because they want to act like it's their human right. No, because these children, you're coming after them. What you do together, you're adults. It's your business. No one's going to come after you in that area. Because correct, they chose to live that way. But you're not going to come after someone outside of that, right? Children are LGBT, obviously. Children are outside of that. You're not going to come and manipulate their beliefs and their thinking when they're just babies. You're not going to come after them. That's when we have to step in and protect this group. But when children become adults, then the same thing applies. Now, they also have the free will to go to that LGBT filth or not. It's their choice. God does not tell you to kill them. But you're supposed to protect one group, right? When they're adults and they're practicing their evil that doesn't harm others, right? They're just doing things to each other or whatever they're doing to themselves. Obviously, this is a general statement. Don't be too, I'm not being specific. You're supposed to protect them from when they act like then the group they want to go after, right? The victim somehow is also their right. Because they believe it's not harmful to go after that group. So you should just let them because that's their belief. That's what I'm saying. The devil can keep doing this to us over and over and over again. So the way you separate a real victim, where then whoever is saying they want to do something to this person, you stop them. You don't let them act like it's their free will, it's their rights, it's their belief. It's when they're harming and going after someone. Like a male says who's a pervert, he wants to rape females. It's his belief that that's his nature. He can just grab one. He can just do what he wants because that's his thing. He can't stop himself. Whatever he says, it's not hard to stop his evil and shut him down from humans who are over there just drinking alcohol if they want, having sex if they want, because this one is coming after someone. He's actually going to some innocent party, just walking somewhere, right? He's just grabbing them and attacking them. That's when he cannot say his belief. That's when he cannot say it's his religion. So a Muslim is not going to be allowed to just go to non-Muslims and just conquer them. He's not going to just be allowed to just go to their females and just capture them and rape them. You don't get to just go to people and do what you believe you can do to them. That is what it means to be a criminal. Because a thief is also going to act like that purse belongs to him. You really want to go there with me? How evil humans are. You know they lie in a strange way, where even with your own eyes, you can't believe what they just said. They literally stealing from someone. It is obvious this property obviously doesn't belong to them. They still look at you right in the face and act like that belongs to them. Act like somehow it's okay for them to have it. They'll use anything they can come up with. So that's what I'm saying, because they have that psychology. These humans are possessed, obviously. Demons have a psychology of twisting logic, twisting morality, twisting human rights. This is where someone with deep intellectual knowledge can shut them down. Okay? This is when you're really going to have to use logic that is very high level, and you can't forget this is their quality. You cannot forget. Evil humans just have to say that to you. They have to say the evil they're doing it because it's good. They're never going to say it's bad, but they just want to do it. Because the moment they say out of their own mouth that it's bad, then they think you have the right to punish them. So in order to make it seem like they should not be stopped, they should not be punished, even though you believe they should be stopped and punished, they don't care what you think. They just care what they say they think. As long as they say this is their right, they think then you can't stop them. They think, who cares if you kill them? Who cares if you punish them either way? As they still think they have the right to have that mentality, to keep lying to you that way. But the moment they agree it's bad, they know it's finished. Because, right, there's no conflict. They're not arguing with you. So they don't stop arguing with us because they think that somehow then means that there's some discussion about morality. They think that there's some discussion about this very obvious evil thing they're doing, like stealing or killing or raping, as if it's not proof that it's bad. As long as they argue, as long as they say no and keep talking and talking and talking and they don't agree with us, they think that is the evidence that what they're doing is not obvious that it's wrong to God. Do you see what I'm saying? So they argue with us for a reason. But to see that the devil can do this to righteous people, to people who are moral like me, who's trying to help you, who's against this evil. He can do that to people who think like me. He can also act like, because we keep talking, keep using logic, keep using wisdom, because the evil one doesn't shut up, we have to keep talking and shutting down their lies. He can act like then we're the bad ones too, that we have the same wicked psychology. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's such a complex thing. It's very easy. Yes, humans are not dumb. They know right from wrong in their conscience. But when we have something that doesn't shut up, it wants to just argue with us. It wants to justify evil. Just as human civilization, evil males justified raping females, controlling them, using biology and God and procreation, all this filth to literally harm someone in a way that is worse than you chopping them into pieces. We have to deal with them using many things. But the first weapon they use, I want you to know, they may not use the term God or religion, but they always use God. You might be like, well, I don't remember them necessarily using God sometimes. What did they use though? Like nature, like the female body, how she's created. Things like her. There you go. Who created nature? Who created biology? God. So they are using God as a weapon. Any human who's evil and wants to do it, they're always going to use God like LGBT. They just don't have to make the term God come out of their mouth. They can just say this is how they're born, this is how they're created. That means God. Because only He creates us. We have to separate evil humans from God. It's that simple. We have to separate evil conduct that's unjust from God. God is the weapon that the demons are using, the lies they created about Him. The proof series, therefore, I see, again, this became so long, 128 minutes. Inshallah, I'm going to do my best to get into all these subjects. And step by step, this is a general episode, so that's why I just got into many topics. I hope you got to this point. But God already showed us the solution to Muslims. It's what God taught non-Muslims to do. They separated their church from state. Europeans used to suffer under Christianity, so much oppression to females. But now they're free, and it's only European countries that seem to have a lot of freedom because they separated the religion. So if you would agree with me, this sort of better way that humans live, where they're free, people who don't worship God, you can easily just come and preach to them. This healthy, free way that we all treat each other. Obviously, there's some things that humans are doing freely that are bad for others. I just mean the good things that everyone is free to do, like how females can live in society with males, have a car, enjoy their life. Muslims did the same thing. I don't want you non-Muslims to think Muslims didn't reach the same intellect. They did. Just go into 1990s. Not 1990s, 1900s, or even prior, or even just 1970. Just Google Somalia, Google Saudi Arabia, the countries today where Muslims are in by majority, and obviously Islam, the corrupted parts, is being used to constantly oppress and take away the women's rights. Just look at just a few decades ago. These females were driving, right? Their schools, the males, everyone was treating them normally. All this filth about 4 wives, all this stuff was not being practiced. No one was trying to conquer non-Muslims and rape their females. All this evil stuff was never being practiced. They just had wonderful schools. Females were their teachers, which means they were being educated enough to become teachers and professors. The males were not in their face all the time. oh my God, they were not being separated and segregated. All this stuff about male, female being segregated in Islam is not from God. It's from the hadith books. I don't even think it's from God, because of what our species has always done, that you and I would agree is obviously normal and good for us, that we mix. Just as I go to a job, I mix with non-Muslims. That means what? I get to see male and female. That's normal to me. Many places like a market, Muslims mix males and females. It's only places of worship that the devil likes to insult these two genders, how they're supposed to have human connection. We're not animals, and we're not filthy, weird things. We're just people. We can get along and just learn from each other, and goodness, right? We learn things from each other. How can you separate us? How can you separate two genders? Literally, all of us are here because of them, right? You cannot separate them. So all this stuff like a Muslim has to be ahead of the female and leading her in prayer, God doesn't say that. That's the hadith books, what they say. And if we use logic, we're going to see it's not moral and just. It's always projecting superiority for the male. If they're married, husband and wife, can they use that example that maybe they don't like males and females standing next to each other because they don't like how close they would be because they're strangers and we want to be modest people? Well, they're married this time, male and female married. Why do you then tell the male to still stand in front of his wife and lead her in prayer? You're lying. It's not about modesty. It's about superiority and sexism. So you don't always know what they're telling you is the reason for something. They'll give you a good reason. Even if it's something unhealthy, you'll just do it. But when you really see that in other situations, right, since they gave you conditions, when the condition no longer applies and they still tell you can't do it, they tell you Muslim females can travel for 3 days, 3 nights, but not more than that by herself. Okay, then when there's other hadiths already saying, no, she can only do 1 day. There's one saying, oh, this amount of kilometers. You already know what's going on. All this stuff is nonsense. God is not going to tell one gender they cannot travel when he told the species to travel. There's a verse in the Quran where God is saying, go and travel the earth. Go enjoy the greatness that God created. Do you agree we're a species? Do you agree therefore whatever God created in this earth belongs to both of us? You cannot give it to one gender. So why would you tell females they can't be certain professions like archaeology, historians? Why would you tell them they cannot be law enforcement, protecting others in a given city? Maybe they're protecting females from these weird oppressive males, and there's no male in that entire city who could. Why are you taking away their right to do things like visiting another country and meeting humans of another way that they look? You believe those things are just normal things. Protecting each other, learning something about rocks and animals and trees. What does that have to do with male? This is the sexism. This is the corruption. Okay? Muslims don't practice it. Anytime these evil religious preachers are not in control, Muslims always had normal countries like these non-Muslim countries that you would say are civilized. They also were like that. But then something happens. They resurface these horrible, narrations in these hadith books, because I told you guys there's good ones and there's bad ones. The bad ones, when they resurface, right, they come back and some extremist preacher just starts to force it on Muslims. Then they shut down the schools. They tell females they're ashamed. They should always put their head down around a male. They should cover their feet and their hands. They should cover her face. Oh my God, non-Muslims are saving Muslim females when they keep telling you to stop the niqab, that sort of cover. They're helping you. God is using them to guide you to see this is not from him. Because they don't use hatred to stop you. They use the fact that it's not normal. The fact that you're human. People should see what you look like. Your face should be normal. What is so shameful about your face? You can't hide it. I'm sorry, you can't show it. But your private parts are obviously private. See, it's not because it's shame. It's because it's private. That's why you're not exposing them. We have to use reason. Because do you agree the devil could use the fact that humans cover their private parts to then justify the fact that because, right, we have a good reason for that, that then also it's a good reason to cover your eyes and face and hands. What? Do you see what I'm saying? Something good in this one context can be taken to apply to a context that does not apply to it. It's a totally different situation. It's okay in this situation, right? They believe Muslim females and males, if they have sex outside of marriage, they should shame them and humiliate them in public. beat them up in front of billions of people watching, like slavery, the way they would execute someone. And all these evil humans are watching that person. That horrible thing Europeans used to do to Africans. And of course, in human history, it happened from other races too. You guys, I wish I could show you what God has taught me, right? How I see the devil. Even though I didn't live in all throughout human history, God has opened my eyes to see how he has done it, you know, the pattern. So my mind is filled with so much knowledge, but I don't know how to say it all at once. It takes time. And I'm not in normal, good environments and situations because these demons are given power by God to persecute me. That's why you're always hearing noises in my recordings, because I'm in the street. I'm in public places. I can't always find a good time. Whenever the inspiration hits, I just record anytime. That means they get to then take advantage of the environment I'm in and make it hard for me to record. And the recording might go on a little longer than I intended. So what I'm trying to say is, see, I'm forgetting right now because there's huge noise around me again. Okay, inshallah, we're going to talk about all these horrible things. And I just want you to remember that as a Muslim, even I, a Muslim, did not know the evil in this religion. And we were all happy many times, especially in the house of God, the mosque. And it's only when these weird books that humans wrote in ancient history that none of us know about, when this preacher wants to talk about it and bring it to our face, that then we hear the fact that he's telling us we have to be limited in some way as a woman or as a human. It is insanity. No one somehow thinks, no one uses their mind. So I believe there's witchcraft on Muslims. I believe it's a generational thing because the past Muslims were not like this. Just literally go on YouTube and just write down Saudi Arabia or Somalia just a few decades ago, like 1960. The bad stuff in Islam was not in their government. Those presidents did not limit women. Everyone was happy. Okay? Of course, whoever wanted to practice evil did it. You can't always know what humans are doing. But the government, right? The sort of Sharia Allah, this nonsense wasn't there. So the devil used evil non-Muslims among the European race, mainly the US, because they really wanted to go to the Middle East and start war because of oil and all this stuff. See, it's a political thing. It seems religious. It's not religious. Religious people are good, obviously, in that sense. No, just the political side of humans. Maybe just a political motive you have, right? That's evil. Something about wealth and taking something from others. At some point, that group that you want to take something from, it could be a religion group, right? It could be a group that is under one religion, right? Or maybe they're not. So it's just one of those things where it just happened to be this way. But also because the devil obviously wanted to get rid of rights for Muslims. He didn't want you to see them as rational, healthy people who also think their books are ancient. They don't obviously follow everything. They only follow the good. They use their rational minds. They had good governments. Women were free. They were enjoying themselves. There you go. The devil came and used the evil humans, not non-Muslims, but the evil humans of non-Muslims who obviously oppress their own people as well. Okay, those who have political interest in the Middle East and Africa, just like Europeans have political interest in Africa. They're obsessed with their land and their riches and using their people for labor like that. It's not really something about, oh, we just hate the African person. No, it was just political, what they always wanted. But since you have to pick one group to do something bad, it seems like you have a problem with that group when it's just political. If another group had the same thing, they could take from them, right? Some motive. If they had something they wanted materialistically, and that group also could do it, if they oppress them, well, then they go to that group too. So the enemy is the devil. I don't want you to see yourselves as the enemy. Evil humans are evil and they're your enemy. Yes, they do and harm. Yes. But it's not like this enemy. It's not something that, you get me, knows you and plotted against you. That really is what we would say an enemy. So the devil is the one that this time, right, in human history, he chose other reasons, right, other ways, other methods, other humans. But this time, the recent time that Muslim countries are just so oppressed and they're so disgusting for females and there's no rights. Okay, Muslims are not like that. Okay, Muslims are not like that. It doesn't matter what their books say. They don't follow it. What happened was, recent time, things got worse because, right, the evil humans who are non-Muslim went into Middle East, right, like Saudi Arabia, Iraq. They went into Africa, like Somalia, which is actually around the time I was born. Okay, 1993, around that time is when I was born. Literally around that time is when they started to go and start problems for these people by asking the religious preachers to bring out the evil stuff that people wrote about Islam. See, it's not part of a religion. Some random author wrote it. Past scholars threw it away, but these weirdos in that time were told to bring it up, and put it into the religion, force it on Muslims. Boom, women's rights to drive, women's rights to do anything, their education were taken away. They would dress so well. Now they all cover it up like some shame. They all wear the color black, because literally the preacher will tell you those other colors are sinful. Blah, 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 it attracts men. Blah, blah, blah. As if men are some weird, disgusting like pest or something that's seen honey, which implies what? Object. Well, honey is an object. A man is a human. And loving someone and being sexually attracted to them is a normal thing. And that only good things come out of that. You obviously would honor that person. You wouldn't harm them. And that's only someone who's compatible with him that he would like. Okay? When he's just staring at everybody, that's a pervert. Just trying to make people sick in the stomach. And perverts exist in both genders. So they're accusing males of being a predator. Just simply by their gender. Because why? Because they have to say that to you. Just like if you tell a child every day you're stupid. Aren't some of them going to actually then act on that? It doesn't mean they believe in and they're innocent. No, did you at least not commit a sin against the child? Did you not lie to them? So every day, the Muslim male is constantly the one that also has to be respected for the fact that evil is done to him too. Evil is done to him too. Because every day he's being told, go harm females, go control them, go limit them, go restrict them. This is your nature. God told you to do it. So they're also, what is that thing called? I wouldn't call it brainwashing. What is that thing called? Goodness, there's cops around me right now. As always, the devil has to bring cops around me to act intimidating or whatever. Okay, I'm just going to keep recording. I'm not going to let them confuse me. So, what is that thing called, basically? It's like that sort of cult-like thing, right? Where you sort of like brainwash people. But I wouldn't call it brainwashing. It's like something else. It's like the fact that they go and do something to their mind where, what is the word? There's a better word than brainwashing. There's a better word than brainwashing. I can't think of it right now because I'm being attacked with witchcraft. But what I'm saying is, that thing where you keep telling a human being, right? Using some belief, right? Some sort of religion or whatever. That some human over here created. Hey, do this to others. This is who you are. Blah, blah, blah. Every day, imagine. They're not going to do it. Good Muslims are good Muslims, okay? Those Muslim males, the good ones. I've seen them with my own eyes, many of them. They don't know what to do. I sometimes see, like, you know, when you look at someone's face, when I look at those males, their eyes, it looks like they're crying. There's this sort of sensitivity in their eyes. They actually don't know where to turn. I told you they cannot mix with non-Muslims and learn from you and see that parts of the good things you guys do has to be from God. They cannot have such wisdom because obviously you guys are going to be given wisdom by God too. God is not limited to Muslims, right? He obviously cares about all of us. They cannot see, right, God's wisdom in other creations, other ethnicities or races or groups. You can't observe the whole human race because they just push you to always mix with Muslims. So our religion really is a cult right now. It is a cult. Because you can't even go mix with others. What is that? Isn't that what a cult is? What do they do like those Mormons? Their weird religion, the bad parts of their religion, obviously. It limits them. Don't go anywhere else, right? And humans who actually are like a cult, like just this family. They don't go out. They don't eat other food. They don't allow their kids to just eat normal food that they like. Maybe they limit them from sugar. Like that. That's what our religion has become, a cult. So the Muslim males are suffering who are normal ones. So when I look at their face, they seem like they're crying. Their soul is begging for help. They don't know where to turn. They don't know to just go to these non-Muslims and chat with them and be their friend. Because the devil uses things against them like, well, they drink alcohol. You don't want to be mixed with that. They like that. He doesn't want to sin. So he doesn't know how to balance it. I told you guys. You might be like, well, he can just use logic. What the hell's wrong with him? There's witchcraft on them. God has showed me there's witchcraft on Muslims. So it prevents them from thinking in many ways of rationality. They're just limited. They become like a cult. They don't move and get along with other humans like God wants them to. Because I told you, God is being used to stop them. Yeah, be nice to non-Muslims. Obviously, we're not saying hate them, but don't be their friend. They'll influence you. What? They just live normal lives like us. Fine, they don't wash themselves with water in the restroom. Fine, you're not going to consider them really clean in that sense. You know? But obviously, they think they're going to obviously go wash their hands with soap. Like, I don't know how to explain. It's not something that would affect you. Okay, fine, they drink alcohol, but don't go with them to the club. Just hang out with them in a sports area, right? As a female, just go out with the mall with them. So God exposed me to every area in simple little situations of our human existence, right? Just basic things about us, just the way we just do little things. Have nothing to do with religion. How he limits us from mixing with non-Muslims. Using fear. The fear is very rational. We don't want to be around sinful things. We don't want to be around a place where we believe demons are in, like a club and bar. It's a very bad place. A lot of people who drink alcohol would agree with you. That place is very dark and gloomy, and alcohol brings out the worst of them. They agree with us. That's just their sin. That's just what the devil pushes them to. That's the way they learn to deal with it. They were taught as young people that this is normal. So, okay, they're not bad people. This is just the way things are. You can be with people when they're not doing things like that. You can be a good influence on the non-Muslim and actually inspire him to not drink alcohol. If that's something they would like, see, it's their free will. That's something they would think you're right. It's not good for my health. I'll give it up. It's just a culture thing. My people just do it out of culture. Like that. No one said it's righteous for them to do it. A non-Muslim is not going to say alcohol is good and holy and pure. So that's never going to be their reason. They just do it because they just do it. Okay, so it's not hard for them to agree to stop it. It just might be hard for them because it's like an addiction. But see, because the devil is preventing these Muslims, he wants them to think it's just a religion, but it's actually a cult. We're literally in a cult because he's preventing us from even mixing with non-Muslims and talking to them normally. They tell you to not. That's why Muslims usually like to have their own malls, like Somali people. They just have their own malls in Minneapolis. They don't like to mix with non-Muslims because I told you, good people, this is just what they're brainwashed into thinking, that it's not good for them. But evil Muslims who are the ones brainwashing, they obviously know this is not obviously true. Because there are things a human can be brainwashed into, and they actually could be ignorant themselves, correct? They don't know either. But this is about morality. These humans are older than us. They're way old. They know. Okay, we were kids. We don't know anything. Then they start brainwashing us. Okay, that's not fair. The adult knew. And they also got a chance to experience mixing with non-Muslims, because a lot of these human beings who today are like 80 or 60 or 70, right? The humans who we would say today are our parents, as someone like me who's almost 30, right? We were the youth and now we're the adults now. They're the ones who, when they were 20, right? They lived in a time where, like in Somalia, women were in the army, women were in the police. They didn't have to cover their hair. They wear pants. No one hurt anybody. No one oppressed her. They were so happy. You can see how wonderful their country was. The devil came, created some sort of events, and he pushed Muslims to become the extreme ones, right? The extreme ones who obviously were always there when people were this civilized. Obviously, they're always around. It's just that they hide. He pushed them to then come out and start to sort of take charge. Why? Whatever evil they always used to have in their heart, and they're so bitter and jealous when Muslims are not following that, and these Muslims are following their mind and they're rational. Boom, these evil ones now, they got the upper hand politically, and they force their religions on everyone. They take the government, and you might be like, how do they do that? What the hell happened to these good people? War. There was civil war. Okay, so that's how you know good people didn't become evil. No, they were killed. War happened. People just die. And obviously good people are stronger than evil people. They didn't go to battle and bad ones won. No, it's like the type of war that's not fair. You just bomb people. They don't know you're going to bomb them. They could obviously die. So that's kind of how the Civil War happened. No one knew. No one declared it. They just came after random people minding their business, laughing and just chilling, and they just killed them. No one knew the evil ones in the Muslims were coming out to attack these people who are obviously promoting the civilized way of life for us. Okay, so that's what happened. Logical things caused a destruction of people you would expect a human like you. Muslims are human. You would expect them to use their mind and learn from non-Muslims who are living more civilized lifestyles. You're expecting these people to be like you. But you're thinking, why do they live like some sheep, some cult? Because these are just the children of those who, many of them are orphans and don't even know who their parents were. Many of them, that's why they say things like they don't know when they were born, and January 1st is their birthday, even though their parents are there. Because the Civil War in 1993, and around that same time, right, like 1960 to 1990, is when the U.S. and these other evil European politicians went to war with Muslims, okay, just primarily Muslims. So it was in Africa and the Middle East. Just to get their land, you get me? It had nothing to do with religion, probably. Just their sort of land. Okay, and it destroyed their religion. You get me? It destroyed the parts of them where they were living civilized lives. And you might be thinking, why didn't they just bomb them? Why did they become oppressed people then? Based on what does the religion have to do with it then? Why did the religion become the problem if these non-Muslims just wanted to steal their land? Because the tactic the devil used when he used these non-Muslims to take away their lands, right, to bomb them, attack them, whatever, what they actually did was they just create a war between them. They just create a civil war, divide and conquer. That's that statement. They made Muslims go attack, the evil ones attack the good ones. Okay, when the devil did this, because obviously the devil is behind evil, he did it by using the bad parts of Islam. To see the evil Muslims who were always there, who would love to do all these horrible things, but they were always put down and silenced by the good Muslims who created moral, healthy laws, and people just lived decently. Okay, the bad ones, right, who obviously you would agree are very bitter. They would love to do the horrible things that ancient humans many times got a chance to do. It's not a Muslim thing. It's just any evil human in any religion, in any ethnicity, in any race, there's bad humans. If they study their own people's history, whether the ethnicity or the race, or their own people as in the religion they're in, they all have times in history they can go back and know that bad humans were in charge at some point of government, and they were allowed to just do all the evil because they allowed it for each other, and good people were silenced, right? Do you agree? That's what I'm saying. So Muslims are the same. It's just like any other group in human history, any other ethnicity or race, any other group like Christians, who the bad ones among them, when they're silenced by moral laws in their country, they're hoping one day the devil comes and helps them take over. That's how, human beings who are evil are just, because I don't like how you guys see them like they're somehow human like you. They're horrible. This is what they're thinking. Okay? You just think randomly they just became bad all of a sudden. No, they deep down when they are in a moral, civilized country, no one is teaching them to be sexist and perverted and bad. They already bad and sexist and perverted. You get me? You don't have to teach it to them. Their culture doesn't have to promote it. Evil just comes from the devil coming to them and just teaching them. Okay? Just bad humans that are possessed will come to them. Bad books in human history. Bad things will just show it to them. The bad humans before them. They're just going to like it. Okay, and then they're going to shut up. They can't do anything. The country is civilized. Boom. Those are the ones then who say to themselves, let's go after their president. Let's go after this good government. Let's kill these people. Let's do that sneaky attack where, right, we assassinate the good president. Just whatever you expect bad humans do when they're jealous of good people in a certain kingdom, right? Like this good king and queen, right? This male and female who are spouses. The way the envious male over there, right, could be thinking he should take over, right, kill these two people, and then he can bring his filth into this kingdom and rule it. Like that. Humans like that will always exist among us. It's not something ancient, Okay, so then those types of humans, right, the devil knows who they are. They're possessing them. Demons are possessing them. They just use them, and the devils are the ones who are like planning and plotting everything. Okay, and they create a way. They create a way for these males and females who are, working for them to just work together, overthrow these good people like they did to the Muslims who were good. They always got assassinated. I don't want you to think Somali people just are so wicked or something. No, they killed their president. They killed their own president, okay? So this wicked Islam you see every day is here because of very logical things. The people who you would say were good Muslims who don't follow this filth and they believe, right, it has nothing to do with God, they obviously were assassinated or overthrown, or sneak attacks were done on them. The evil ones who obviously did that, the devil was using, then took over, and now they shut up the children who are born to these people, the children who don't necessarily know things were different, things were good back then. You're just born into the bad time. So they manipulate you and make you think this is how God is. This way that you see things or country is running is the way God told us to run it. So just be this way like us, like too. You get me? This person is, if they're a good person, that's not going to corrupt them, obviously. Good are just good. But they don't know. See, it would benefit them to know people didn't just shut up. It would benefit them to know people stood up against it, right? It gives you courage to be the first person to also speak up in your generation. They don't know our people were free. The Muslims today, who you would say are like 20 or 30 or 40, they don't know just a few decades ago their countries were wonderful. And they did not follow the bad parts of Islam. Only some humans who always obviously want to do it, you just don't always know who they are, were obviously in the mosque usually promoting that. Just like the churches promote a lot of sexism and filth. Okay. They want to tell you, obviously, their religion is good. They're lying. They're using the governments like the U.S., how most of their laws are, right, civilized, right, allows people to have freedom. Christianity will use, right, those who promote it, they'll use that to make it seem like then they're better than Muslims. No. There's a reason why Europe had problems and overthrew their kings and killed them and changed everything and separated church from state over time. You get me? They suffered like Muslims. So they're lying to you. They want to act like the good parts of the United States and the European countries who usually follow Christianity, they want to act like that's from Christianity. No, that's just from the human intellect to use their own mind as God commanded them to do. God told you to use your mind. That's the human doing their part, not them following scripture. When humans used to follow scripture in these countries that are European, who are usually Christian, then they were just like Muslims. They were oppressed. They were all following perversion and filth and sexism, killing whoever wanted to go against the religion. It was chaotic the way you expect it to be. So Muslims just haven't reached that yet. They just don't have leaders who can come out of them that God chooses to say, okay, everyone, come over here. I'm going to tell you something. This is what we should do. We should bring back our rights, our humanity, protect God's name, because this is not from him. We're not stupid, obviously. We're created by him. If we know that the way we think is righteous, how could the one who created us not be as righteous or better than us? Therefore, okay, as long as we know the way those humans conduct themselves is harmful and evil, and we know, therefore, the way we think is righteous, then, okay, whoever created us has to be better than us in character. Therefore, he actually thinks just like us. He's on our side. If we could see God today, he would say we're the ones he likes, and he doesn't like the other ones. Who's going to be that logical? Only those God chooses. So he just brings out, sometimes it could be regular people, right? He just gives them oh my goodness, that inspiration, that wisdom. And sometimes, right, like people who start a revolution, or it could be people like supernatural that he chooses, like a prophet, or just other people who are supernatural that he chose. Islam believes in one person who's not a prophet, who could ever come down and be their leader, and they're supernatural. They believe that's Mahdi Abdullahi. That's so dumb. Because they act like you'll never know who this person is until God reveals them. They tell you you'll find out because demons are persecuting them, etc., etc., etc. But the world technically doesn't know they're being persecuted. Muslims don't know they're being persecuted. You know, they're running from place to place seeking help, you know? What? This person would obviously just go to Muslims and be like, hey, preacher, hey, sheikh, I'm your leader. I'm Mahdi. What? Because they get it. If they're Muslim, they would know about the story of Mahdi. So then when they're male and they're living this life and they're just a teenager, they'd be like, But they tell you this person doesn't know why he's being persecuted. They don't know why they're... I mean, at the beginning, at least. That's dumb. They have to be a different person. They have to have a different name. And obviously, if they're being persecuted and running around and have no protection, that means their family has to be part of the persecution. They have to be bad Muslims. They have to be bad people. They have to be people who are also bothering this person and they don't have any support. Because they have a family, why would they be persecuted? They've helped them. So they don't think about it. Goodness, because these are the hypocrite preachers. They're not going to tell you the truth. So that's what I'm saying. Like a detective, you take some of the things that are truthful, obviously, right? Such as if a leader was here, they have to be persecuted, just so you know. God does not choose supernatural leaders for you and give them a normal life. They always get persecuted by the devil, okay? Which means humans who are possessed, they don't know this person, but they're going to be possessed to bother them as they're growing up. You know that this person who harassed them doesn't know why they were harassing them. They're just possessed. The demon knows who they are probably. Their body is just a vessel. They'll just cuss this person out, bother this person, try to, imprison them or whatever. That's what they always try to do, accuse you of mental illness and criminality. Because you're intelligent, you came to help people with spirituality, which you cannot really prove, right? With the naked eye, you can't see demons and God. Okay, so they're going to call you crazy, you get me? As a way to shut down that knowledge out there that, right, we can obviously prove in many ways, but technically you can't see. So the devil likes to use that against us, the fact that we can't see it. So then label people crazy, you get me? Like that. So even what they believe, right, about leaders who could ever come to them to help them, they have to look at the qualities then. It's someone that has justice, they're balanced with it, right? They're not going to just, I don't know how to explain. You know how someone can tell you something that's just, right? But they may not be balanced in another area. They maybe haven't thought about it or whatever. This person is balanced. That's what justice is. It means balance. One group is not going to take over the other. You're going to give everyone their rights. That's the things they say. This person will bring justice, give everyone their rights, bring solutions. They're going to be highly intelligent. That's how then you would identify this person. They're going to be followed or persecuted. That's what they believe. But see, they're not thinking. Why would a Muslim be persecuted and not tell other Muslims? That means they're not mixed with Muslims. That means they're avoiding Muslims. They're not thinking. They think they're going to run to Saudi Arabia. Hell no, they're going there because that place is crazy. So these religious preachers or hypocrites want you to actually think that Muslims are good for people of God who come down in the future to guide them. No, they're probably going to be harassed by you. They're probably going to avoid Muslims, just like past human history. The prophets who came down like Noah, even he was harassed, and other prophets were harassed like Abraham. By the time, right, the humans who were in God's religion, like let's say a specific city, right, because obviously God sent prophets to everyone. Just let's say the ones that usually the scriptures talk about the most, like Israel, right? Let's say a specific city, like they went to the Jews maybe. What they call Jews today, whatever. Just basically these people, right? They go to the specific prophet, okay? Others went to Africa, etc. Okay, the ones, right, or other prophets that were sent to like Arabs, whoever they went to, right, of these races, ethnicities. Usually the story is whoever they're going to that is already using God's religion, right, and His scripture, but it's just corrupted. And see, that's why the person has to come down because it's corrupted. So you know Islam is corrupted if someone's coming down. The people, right, who you would think should follow this person, I mean, why would they follow them? They're following the corruption, correct? They're bad, obviously. But okay, fine. The good ones, at least, who don't like it, like I told you, there's good Muslims today, like you know, the ones I grew up with who don't understand what the hell's going on when their religion has all this stuff pop up. Okay. It means the good ones probably don't know this person. It means something's happening. The devil is being allowed to do something to not know this person's out there like the prophet. And the bad ones usually weren't right. See, this is how you know persecution was easy for them. Because you're not just going to follow someone and harass them. People will stop you, right? Even if they're evil, they'd be like, leave the person alone. Therefore, that means evil humans were always where? In your government, okay? They always had some sort of control over the land in order for them to persecute a prophet. You get me? Because it was such a legal type of persecution usually. They're using their soldiers. Okay, when the devil, obviously, for me, for example, right, when God makes them persecute me to show me how He corrupted the religion, police are being harassed to bother me, but they don't know. Get it? The government didn't send them. You get? It's just that specific demon possesses this cop and makes him follow me around and tries to put me in jail for something I didn't do. So now it's more easy for the devil to persecute someone God sent to help you. And it's also easy to hide them from you, you good people, you people who would love to work with this person to bring a civilized country and separate religion from, you know, the governments, so that people, their rights is given to them. No one's forced into anything. And obviously non-Muslims should live in Muslim countries. We should mix. That's not going to happen if you have Islamic states. Okay, and a God who He's a God. He created all of us. He wants all of us to mix and get along. That's also another way to spread the religion. He would never limit you and tell you to create Sharia law for your country. See, that's a fake God, right? A real God who created the other humans who obviously, He would also want to create excuses for them to learn about His religion, but also the other quality He has where He wants us to all get along and love each other. He obviously is not going to limit us. He's not going to tell us to make laws like that, like Islamic State. No, people can just practice Islam in their country, but the laws are just, right, just what you expect. They're trying to do justice. Yeah, you get me? I'm talking about laws that have nothing to do with you doing something bad, but it's just something they consider sinful that's not bad, like covering yourself. Like that, those things should not be into their government. No female should be told what to do, because that already tells you these preachers in Islam are lying. Because when they're teaching you Islam as a Muslim female, they telling you God told you to do this. Not one verse says kill her, or that God will kill her, or that she'll go to hell. So it's already shown when they're studying their own religion that this is something God is just simply, right, telling her to do for His sake. Just for her own, the way He just thought she should cover at least her chest area like that. Just very logical. We already cover as human beings. Obviously, males cover more than a female. Females are showing their breast all the time. Like that. Just the decency to cover it. Don't show it. It's not like your back or something. It's not the same. Just decency. So when God tells her to do it, and when the preacher is teaching her that God said it, he just talks normally. Like it's just like a choice. It's just good for you. Then where does it come from to punish her, beat her, harass her, threaten her? Where does it come from to harass the person if they don't do it? Exactly. The extremists authors who are not Muslim, who are hypocrites, who wrote other things to somehow imply whoever then doesn't do it, treat them like this. You see, so even something they don't have from God's book, they're willing to force it on Muslims. These people, therefore, are not helping you. They're using human beings, what they wrote, to force that onto you. But they, the preachers of Islam, they, the sheikhs, they don't believe the books they write can become law for Muslims. Okay, so why do they believe books that humans just like them, just random males, also wrote, should also become laws for us? You see what's wrong? If we use logic, we can stop lies. I feel like I touched on many things. I didn't finish it, but it's too long, so let's do that later, inshallah. So basically what I was trying to say is whoever their next leader is not going to be Mahdi Abdullahi, because that's not logical. You already know their name. That's not going to be possible for them to come to you and be like, I'm this person. You're just going to think people are lying or hypocrites, and they tell you, don't believe in anyone who tells you that right? Any male who tells you he's Mahdi Abdullah, he's actually a hypocrite. Why would God tell you his name? Right? Why would anyone tell you their name? Their name has to be hidden from you, their real name and identity. Because you just said people with his name, they're hypocrites. They claim to be that person. And that you'll identify this person based on how intelligent and how just they are. You're talking about character and how demons are persecuting them. You're saying these are the ways you're going to know who they are. Things that, right, anyone can observe, but it at least protects them, right? They don't have to tell you who they are. You'll figure it out. Okay, why would then their name be told to you? God has to hide their name. He cannot let those humans say it. Okay, fine, maybe if someone told them, like the prophet, I'm sure those humans probably knew their name, right? I'm sure those people knew their real identity, because the prophet's not going to hide that, because he's the one telling you. Maybe if he told them, right? Because where else can they get this knowledge except from a prophet? That's what I'm saying. Only those humans then would know. The ones who are passing the history to us have to be lying to us. The hypocrites have to be doing it. The good ones could have compiled it. It's just that the bad ones are the ones who are sending it to us. At the end of it, they're just corrupting the good one. Because they're telling you, if a male comes to you who's Muslim and he says, I'm Mahdi Abdullahi, he's a hypocrite. He's a liar. He's just pretending to be that person. But then how are you going to know then? If you think anyone with that name cannot be him, if that's actually his name, how is he then going to ever get respected that he's the person? You don't accept his name. And you're saying his name is this. God have mercy. They're not thinking. You see how dumb it is? They believe this person will be persecuted. They believe they obviously probably will be Muslim, obviously. That's not logical. Their name is Mahdi. They're being followed by groups of people, or some sort of other type of persecution is happening to them. They're running around looking for a better place to live. They're leaving the country they were originally in. They want to leave. What? You think Muslims would not find out? They would just go to a mosque and tell that person, hey, this is happening to me. What the hell? Why am I being followed? What's going on? Impossible. Muslims will figure it out. But they tell you they'll never figure it out. They tell you the person will run to the Middle East first, bad things will happen, and things will get worse, and then, no. Muslims would help this person. They figure out this is their leader. If they knew, that means God is doing something where he's not allowing Muslims to find out who they are. Non-Muslims will probably know who they are first. The demons in the bad non-Muslims, keyword bad non-Muslims, are probably going to try to hurt this person, their freedom or whatever. They can't kill this person. I mean, like, incarcerate like they tried to do the prophets. Like, they're not thinking. They act like they'll never know who this person is for a long time. But then that means their name is not Mahdi Abdullahi. Because if their name was Mahdi Abdullahi, then you would know it's them. Because that brother, right, who's Muslim, the moment he comes to your mosque, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, my name is Mahdi, you figure it out. So that's not his name. That's not their name.